Hi, and welcome to Not Just Talk Therapy Podcast. We are your hosts.
This is Leslie, a holistic psychotherapist.
And I'm Brittany. I'm the girl next door.
Talk therapy is great, but we believe it's not enough. We examine the body, mind, and soul and challenge you to think differently, see things in a holistic way to approach and resolve life's challenges.
Join us for a fun and meaningful conversation and learn tips and insights on how to approach life's complex issues. We are so excited for you to tune in.
Hi everyone, this is Leslie, and this is episode 10. I'm sure you've heard by now how bad our smartphones are for us, and also how addicting social media is to our brains. I'm sure you care, but you also probably continue to use your phones and social media accounts, right? That's because you are addicted. I'm addicted. We're all addicted. And when you're addicted, you say to yourself, I know it's bad, but I don't care. Because you want that dopamine high. You want that feel-good feeling. And obviously, you need to use your phone for GPS. You need to use your phone to look up a review on a product you want to buy, or to check on Twitter, to catch up on the latest news, to play that game you love, to check on all the notifications from Facebook and Instagram, and of course to text back your friends or respond to those DMs that have been sitting there waiting for your attention. I could go on and on. Like, you have to do all these things, right? I mean, what would your life be like without these things? Some of you may remember a time years ago when you had to actually use a physical map to determine where you needed to go. Or a time if you wanted to talk to someone, you had to actually call them. And if you wanted to see pictures of your friends, you needed to go to their homes and see pictures posted on their fridge or in frames on their walls. I'm sure some of you, my older listeners, can remember those times. And I know my younger listeners have no clue what I'm talking about because all you know is your life with your smartphone. I wonder how many of you have a short attention span and cannot read an entire article from beginning to end. Or maybe you notice you're short with your spouse or partner and have more fights about irrelevant topics. Or maybe you're messing up at work and you're not paying full attention to your job because you're texting all day, because you're on Slack or Reddit or DMing. Or maybe you're shopping too much online and buying things you don't even realize. I'm sure some of you can relate to this. So today I want to motivate you to take a digital detox every day. I want to inform you what social media and smartphones are doing to our brains. Seriously, you need to know this. This is so important, so please listen to what I'm sharing today. You care about yourself, right? You care about your brain too, right? Actually, let me reframe that. Do you judge people who are alcoholics or drug users? Or do you think differently of gamblers? Do you see them with people with problems? So think about that. Not to scare you, but anyone who uses a smartphone or social media daily are similar to drug addicts, alcoholics, and gamblers. Drug addicts and alcoholics have substance addiction, and gamblers have behavioral addictions. So smartphones are more aligned with behavioral addiction. But whether it's substance addiction or behavioral addiction, it's addiction, and it can be dangerous and a detriment. In other words, addiction is a problem. If you're addicted to your phone and social media, then you have a problem. So just as you view the gambler with a problem, you are the same. Not thrilling to accept, is it? So I want to break down the science of what our smartphones and social media does to our brains, okay? Dopamine is a chemical produced by our brains that motivates behavior. It gets released when we take a bite of delicious food, after we have sex, when we exercise, and also when we have successful social interactions. It rewards us for beneficial behaviors and motivates us to repeat them. Smartphones and social media have provided us a virtually unlimited supply of social stimuli, both positive and negative. Every notification you get, whether it's a text message or a like on Instagram or Facebook, has the potential to be a positive social stimuli and dopamine influx. Our dopamine neurons have reward prediction errors that serve as a dopamine-mediated feedback signals in our brains. I'll give you an example. When gamblers play slot machines and anticipate a reward, the moment the lever gets pulled down, our dopamine neurons start to increase their activity, which enhances the reward feeling just by playing the game. And if they don't see any winnings, the dopamine then starts to decrease. But they want the dopamine to increase, so they keep playing and playing, even if they're losing. They want that high again from the reward of winning. Thus, this creates a balance of positive and negative outcomes. And this is what keeps our brains engaged, keeps us hooked, gets us addicted. This is how our phones and apps and social media works. So there's an unpredictable reward pattern happening, okay? It's random, and this is what's keeping you hooked. So you end up checking habitually. For example, Instagram's notification algorithms will sometimes withhold likes on photos and deliver them in large bursts. This uses a variable reward schedule which takes advantage of our dopamine-driven desire for social validation, and it optimizes the balance of negative and positive feedback signals until we become habitual users. Let's talk about notifications. So they train our brains to be in a near constant state of stress and fear by establishing the stress-fear memory pathway. This means that the prefrontal cortex, the youngest part of our brains that deals with the highest order cognitive functioning, goes completely haywire and basically shuts down, and that's not good. This is so important to know. I discuss why we need to use our prefrontal cortex and train our brains to utilize this area more than other areas in episode 9. So our prefrontal cortex deals with planning, decision making, and helps us set goals and achieve them. It gives us self-control. It's the executive functioning area of our brain. Our smartphones and social media apps are pulling us away from the prefrontal cortex area and turning on our limbic brain and brainstem. I discuss all of this in more detail in episodes 7 and 9, so if you want to learn more about that, just go check those episodes out. What's also important I want to note here is this. Our brains have not evolved. It's reptilian, but technology has vastly evolved. From the documentary The Social Dilemma, they give a really good description of how our brain is 1 million years old and it's staring at a supercomputer, our smartphones, that's way more advanced. There's no way our brains can compete with smartphones. There's no fair comparison here. So with our brains, we aren't wired to have hundreds to thousands to millions of positive interactions from a photo or video of us. We also aren't wired to deal with high amount of negativity that can come from a post. We aren't wired to look at perfectly curated lives of others every day, which makes a lot of people depressed. We aren't wired to delegate most of our thinking tasks to our devices, which makes us lazier and our brains sicker and slower. We aren't wired to learn and read from screens, which reduces comprehension and conceptual thinking. We aren't wired to constantly be tapping, clicking, and scrolling, which internally makes our brain signals noisier, which is taxing to the brain. We also aren't wired to live on online interactions, which replaces high-quality face-to-face interactions. And this is the type of connection we need to thrive in life. Our smartphones and social media apps keep us away from the type of interactions that actually make us happy. Our devices are affecting our brains in negative ways. We're addicted, and it's getting worse, not better, because we're so reliant on our phones. Have you gone a day without your phone? Has anyone ever done that before? If so, how did it make you feel? Were you freaking out that you were missing out on something important? So I challenge you right now. I challenge you to put your phone in another room. You can pause this episode and then put your phone away and come back and hit play again. But I'm challenging you to put your phone in another room. If you have a watch, put a timer on or use your microwave or kitchen timer. Do not touch your phone for 1 hour, okay? And see how that feels. Seriously, see how it feels. See how do you feel inside? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel the need to go check on your phone for notification? This is a really easy test to see how addicted you are. I encourage you to try this out for 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, and work your way up to an entire day. I know some of you may have your phone next to you for work reasons, but I encourage you to turn off all your notifications just for the day, just to test this out, to see how addicted you are. In the summer, since we were restricted on where we could travel to due to COVID, my husband and I did local beach trips almost every weekend. Luckily, we live near tons of beaches, so we could venture out to a new beach each week. It was fun and a creative way to explore during this time. But as it turns out, most beaches near us have no cell service. So on the days we would go, I really couldn't use my phone. It forced me to put it away. I could only use it for audiobooks. But I could tell I was addicted. So I wanted to get back to the service areas to check on my DMs, my texts, my emails. We took one trip that I challenged myself not to use my phone for 3 full days. I could only use it for pictures. It was really hard to do at first, but by the second and third day, I felt like a new person. I told Brittany and my friends about it. It was so nice. I felt my brain change, which may sound weird, but I felt this shift inside of me. I don't want to have a problem with addiction. I don't think anyone does. This means our devices have control over us, which is not good. And I don't want to rely on my phone as much as I do. We have one brain, that's it. We have to take care of it. And knowing all this information about smartphones and social media and what it does to our brains is so important. We have the choice, the decision on how to take back control. As a holistic psychotherapist, I'm concerned with how this affects everyone's mental health and overall wellness. We don't want to be addicts. We don't want to feel anxiety or depression, and that's what's happening right now and what will continue to happen over time. We as a collective will become more and more anxious, depressed, and addicted. It will not look good. It turns into dysfunction in work, in relationships, in all areas of our lives. So what can we do about this? Well, let me ask you, do you want to be less addicted to your phone? That's the first step. You have to feel motivated in wanting to change your life. You have to want it first. And that comes with what Brittany and I talk about all the time in this podcast, self-awareness. And I believe if you're listening to this podcast, you have self-awareness and you care about your well-being. But when it comes to addiction, this is really hard for all of us. So I want to ask you, what need does your smartphone and social media accounts give to you? What need does it provide? I talk about our 6 needs in episode 6. I'll share them again here. So we all have 6 needs and they're in different order for each of us, okay? So I'm going to name the 6 needs. Remember, these are in different order for everybody. So the first need is certainty. The second need is uncertainty. Third need is significance. Fourth is love and connection. 5 is growth. And 6 is contribution. And what I mean by this is we have these 6 needs, but for one person, the need of love and connection could be first in their life, a preference. And then they want growth, and then they want certainty. But someone else, the need of significance could be number 1 in their life, right? So what I mean is we all have these 6 needs, but the order of importance varies for everybody. So I want you to ask yourself, does your smartphone, for example, does your smartphone give you certainty? Maybe it gives you connection. Or do your social media accounts give you significance? It's important to see what need you're getting to understand why you're addicted. So for example, a client I was working with got the need of significance from her social media accounts. The likes and follows and comments made her feel special. I think we can all understand this. It's nice to get positive interactions from something we chose to put out there. She was not getting the need of significance from other areas of her life, so social media fulfilled it for her. She spent 8 to 10 hours a day on her phone, and that affected her work performance and her relationships. And she had constant conflicts with her boyfriend. We worked together to reduce her phone time by 50% to 4 hours a day by identifying disturbing and irrational thought patterns she was having, which caused her to rely on her phone. Retraining our brain and starting a new habit takes time, and reducing the addiction and dopamine high from one thing to another takes constant, repetitive practice. I helped her to find other places to get the need of significance, such as working on her relationship with her boyfriend, and that shifted a lot for her as he made some changes that gave her significance. So once you discover the need your smartphone social media accounts are giving you, and you're motivated to reduce your addiction, then the next step is work on finding a healthy replacement for that need. It's not always easy, but it's doable. Having someone to help you like a therapist or coach can help. I've helped clients, but I believe you can do this on your own if you're truly motivated. Most of the replacements will come from your relationships, such as like your spouse, your partner, or some of your close friends. Most of the time, something is lacking, which drives us to other things to get those needs. The replacement can also come from like a more rewarding career or volunteer work. These are just examples, and if you want some help with this, you're welcome to contact me. So I care about you, I care about your brains. We only have one brain, and we should all take care of it. And we have the choice to not engage in activities that harm our brains. Our devices and social media accounts are changing us into beings with slower, lazier brains. Our comprehension and conceptual thinking has reduced. We are lonely and hungrier for real relationships and deeper connections. We're more depressed and anxious. And we have a hard time distinguishing what's real and fake anymore, and brainwashed by fake news. We have to step away from our devices, and we need to take more time away from our social media accounts. This topic is very important for all of us as a collective and as a human race, but the choice is up to you to do nothing or take a step in changing your habits by reducing any addiction you may have with your phone. So I want to encourage you to go and evaluate the needs that the social media and your phones give you, okay? Think about the need it gives you, and then think about a healthy replacement for that need. And I know this may be hard to do, so you're welcome to reach out to me. But for example, if you have the need of love and connection and you're finding that from your phone, that means you really are seeking love and connection from an in-person relationship, a real one-on-one relationship in person, not online, okay? If your social media apps are giving you significance, that means you're not getting the significance. Could be your friend, from your family member, from your boyfriend or girlfriend, or from your partner or spouse. So you need to have a conversation with them that I haven't heard these words of affirmations, or I haven't been told, you're proud of me. Whatever it might be, you're getting the significance from the social media and not from the person that could be giving it to you. Or it could be significance, for example, having a job. Maybe the job isn't fulfilling for you, so you're finding significance and importance in your life through social media, but having and changing your job or career path to a more rewarding one could make you feel significant. So those are just some examples there too. And then I know there are tons of apps out there to help you to turn your phone off, right? There's apps out there to help you reduce your time on your phone. So I encourage you to check those out and or put your phone in airplane mode. Putting on airplane mode for a couple hours a day and just tune out. Go read a book, an actual book. Go take a walk with a friend and talk to them. Call them on the phone. Try these things out to help slowly retrain your brain to not be addicted to your phones all the time. I could spend hours talking about this and giving more tips, but I don't want to make this too long. If you want to hear more about this, just let me know. Feedback is always helpful. I do hope you found this helpful. If you did, please share this with a friend. More of us who had the knowledge, the better. Thank you for tuning in today.
Thank you for listening to today's show. If you love what you heard, please subscribe, write us a 5-star review on iTunes, and follow us on Instagram at mastering.your.mind.
You can find more information from the show on our show notes on our website, notjusttalktherapypodcast.com, all spelled out. And if you're interested in working with us one-on-one, our contact info is also on our website.
Thank you again, and see you on next week's episode.